41. Thanks for being back with us here on WKYC Plus. Now, Cleveland is set to welcome a unique public art project that combines education, community involvement, and remembrance to commemorate people we've lost to HIV and AIDS. We're going to send it over to Danita now in Studio B for more. Hi, Danita.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much. The Concrete Quilt. It will be an outdoor installation at Edgewater Park, and it also brings information about prevention and testing when it comes to HIV and AIDS. And I'm happy to be joined now by journalist, community activist, Dr. Ken Schneck, the visionary, one of the visionaries behind this awesome project here. And I wanted him to come here today. I thank you so much for being here. I heard you at Cleveland Leadership Center's Accelerate, which is like a Shark Tank. And your pitch around this concrete quilt really got my attention because you said some things about HIV and AIDS in our area that I didn't know because it's not being talked about.
That's the big thing. And thank you so much for having me. I mean, we could only do what we did because you were the hype person. So yeah, it is, we are still in a public health crisis as it relates to HIV and AIDS. I think a lot of folks think we left that behind in the 80s and early 90s, but we are seeing rising HIV and AIDS rates, and a lot of folks are just not talking about it.
Yeah, so the concrete quilt, how'd you come up with this concept?
So the concrete quilt with my great friend, Dr. Erin Benet, who couldn't be here this morning, who is an art history professor at Case Western University. And so we wanted something that existed at this intersection of public health and public art, because we are also in a public art crisis where so many murals are being taken down, in particular LGBTQ plus murals. So the idea behind the concrete quilt was that Clevelanders would come together to, same as they had the Names Memorial quilt in the 80s that covered the Washington Mall of these stitched together fabric panels. What if we had a wall where people could just show up and paint the same dimensions of a panel in remembrance of a loved one who lost their life to HIV and AIDS, and then all those painted panels came together to form a concrete quilt.
Wow, I thought it was such a great idea. And the really cool thing about this is that you want it to be something community participates in and really something for the whole family.
I wanted something I could do as well. I have no artistic ability, but I can paint, yes, we could paint the panels, and if they're around others that have artistic ability. Yeah, an opportunity for people to come together and have conversations with the person painting next to them about the person that they're painting in honor of. But so really community members coming together to share those remembrances and then it existing up on the wall.
What do you think has shut down the conversation?
It's that sense of urgency seems to have been lost. And then there's some active pieces as well. We know that just a couple months ago, the Trump administration canceled all recognition of World AIDS Day and issued a decree that all staff, federal government staff, were not allowed to participate in World AIDS Day events. We're seeing HIV and AIDS funding cut all over the place. In Florida, they just cut a ton of their really critical HIV and AIDS funding. Here in Ohio and here in Cleveland, it's gotten to the point where our local chapter of ACT UP, which most folks, wait, was that an 80s thing? They haven't had to meet in 20 years. They've now reconvened because there are so many threats to HIV and AIDS funding.
See, and this is the type of information that needs to get out here. So where are we in the concrete quilt? Where are we in the process here?
You and I are going to start painting by noon.
Okay,
yeah,
today?
We're not.
All
we're
right.
not quite there yet. So the conversations like this are really helping to grease the wheels. We are looking at a wall in Edgewater Park, which is a beautiful location for this. Edgewater Park, a lot of folks don't know, was the site of the first Cleveland Pride celebration in 1974. And so that's a really important place for us to be able to secure a tunnel. So we're in the process of securing a wall for this and just trying to raise awareness about public health and public art.
And Kim, before you go, what impact do you want this to have? What do you want people to walk away from this with?
I really am focused, I think because I'm a journalist and a college professor, I'm so focused on Gen Z. Everybody else is great, but that generation of 18 to 27-year-olds, so folks who are just 2 or 3 years younger than us.
Pretty much.
Yeah. They are the least knowledgeable generation right now on HIV and AIDS. And when we have these conversations about HIV and AIDS, there are just blank looks. So a conversation starter that not only talks about those we've lost, but also also about PrEP, which is a medication that can prevent pretty close to 100% of transmission of HIV, about the importance of getting tested for everyone. These are the conversations we need to be having, and the Concrete Quilt can inspire that.
Yes, community, unity, but also education.
Always.
Oh, Dr. Schneck, so glad you could be here today. Now you see why when I met him, I had to bring him on so you guys can get this information, because it is really important, and I wish you the best in the Concrete Quilt adventure that you're on.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh, thank you, thank you. All right, there it is, Dave, back to you.
Yeah, great conversation. And that, as he said, we need more of these conversations
Yeah.
for that sense of urgency to be there, right, Danita?
You're right about that. There is an urgency, and that's why I wanted him on here, because we are not talking about it, but now we're getting that conversation started.
All right, great job. Thank you.